Hello again, Bill Pfeiffer speaking from Marysfield. Do press the subscriber button and the like button if you like what we're doing. My son told me that within the last month we've had 800 people come back to our site, and as a teacher I figured that out. That's 32 classrooms with 25 people in a classroom, and that seems to be worth our while. I'd like to just share a little story, a fable, that really is, it teaches a very nice message. In the village of Laeken in innermost Friesland, there lived a long, thin baker named Fouke, a righteous man with a long, thin chin and a long, thin nose. Fouke was so upright that he seemed to spray his righteousness from his thin lips over everyone who came near him, so the people of Laeken preferred to stay away. Fouke's wife, Hilda, was short and round. Her arms were round, her bosom was round, her rump was round. Hilda did not keep people at bay with righteousness. Her soft roundness seemed to invite them instead to come close to her in order to share the warm cheer of her open heart. Hilda respected her righteous husband and loved him too, as much as he allowed her, but his heart ached for something more from him than his worthy righteousness. And there in the bed of her need lay the seed of sadness. One morning, having worked since dawn to knead his dough for the ovens, Fouke came home and found a stranger in his bedroom lying with Hilda. Hilda's adultery soon became the talk of the tavern and the scandal of the Laeken congregation. Everyone assumed that Fouke would cast Hilda out of his house, so righteous was he. But he surprised everyone by keeping Hilda as his wife, saying he forgave her as the good book said he should. In his heart of hearts, however, Fouke did not forgive Hilda for bringing shame to his name. Whenever he thought about her, his feelings toward her were angry and hard. He despised her as if she were a common whore. When it came right down to it, he hated her for betraying him after he had been so good and so faithful a husband to her. He only pretended to forgive Hilda so that he could punish her with his righteous mercy. But Fouke's fakery did not sit well in heaven. So each time that Fouke would feel his secret hate toward Hilda, an angel came to him and dropped a small pebble, hardly the size of a shirt button, into Fouke's heart. Each time a pebble dropped, Fouke would feel a stab of pain, like the pain he felt when he saw Hilda with the stranger. And so he hated her the more. His hate brought him pain, and his pain made him hate. The pebbles multiplied, and Fouke's heart grew very heavy with the weight of them, so heavy that the top half of his body bent forward so far that he had to strain his neck upward in order to see straight ahead. Weary with hurt, Fouke began to wish he were dead. The angel who dropped the pebbles into his heart came to Fouke one night and told him how he could be healed of his hurt. There was one remedy, he said, only one for the hurt of a wounded heart. Fouke would need the miracle of the magic eyes. He would need eyes that could look back to the beginning of his hurt and see his Hilda not as a wife who betrayed him, but as a weak woman who needed him. Only a new way of looking at things through the magic eyes could heal the hurt flowing from the wounds of yesterday. Fouke protested. Nothing can change the past, he said. Hilda is guilty, a fact that everybody, not even an angel, can change that. Yes, poor hurting man, you're right, the angel said. You cannot change the past. You can only heal the hurt that came to you from the past. And you can heal it only with the vision of the magic eyes. And how can I get your magic eyes? Pouted Fouke. Only ask and they will be given to you. Each time you see Hilda through your new eyes, one pebble will be lifted from your aching heart. Fouke could not ask at once, for he had grown to love his hatred. But the pain of his heart finally drove him to want and to ask for the magic eyes that the angel had promised. So he asked, and the angel gave. Soon Hilda began to change in front of Fouke's eyes, wonderfully and mysteriously. He began to see her as a needy woman who loved him, instead of a wicked woman who betrayed him. The angel kept his promise. He lifted the pebbles from Fuca's heart one by one, though it took a long time to take them all away. Fuca gradually felt his heart grow lighter. He began to walk straight up again, and somehow his nose and his chin seemed less thin and sharp than before. He invited Hilda to come into his heart again, and she came, and together they began again a journey into the second season of humble joy. It's a beautiful story of forgiveness. Forgiveness is indeed not just a feeling, as you all know, but it's a decision. It's an act of the will. It's a choice. You may not feel any better after you've forgiven than you do before you've forgiven. And so you really need to just make that choice, and the feelings hopefully will come in the course of time. I remember when I was teaching, they had a man come during Holocaust Week, celebration of Holocaust Week, 3 or 4 or 5 years in a row. And I remember meeting the man next to the mailboxes in the office, and boy, you could feel the anger and the hurt. He was terribly, terribly treated by the Nazis, and he was such an angry man, and it consumed him. He was in his late 60s or early 70s, and it just was so difficult. You could just feel the pain in the man. And on the other hand, my son just told me about a woman who suffered the same kind of indignities and pain at the hands of the Nazis. And she said she forgave. She just forgave. And she said, under the circumstances, it could have been me who had done that. And so it didn't take much to say, I forgive you. I forgive you. Holding a grudge is like letting someone live rent-free in your head, said someone. Or holding a grudge is like drinking poison and hoping that your enemy will die. Not a good thing, huh? Not a good thing. So we don't want to be like Fuca, or we want to be like Fuca and acquire the magic eyes, be able to forgive. Huh? I remember visiting Edith Wharton's house up in Massachusetts, and there was a sign everywhere because it's one of her famous lines. She said, "There's 2 ways of spreading light: to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it." And each of us is called to forgive and to be able to shed that light, the mirror of light. And Jesus tells us to forgive 70 times, 7 times, which is an infinite number of times in the scripture. So today, a beautiful little story about magic eyes and the story of the transformation of Fuca. Happiness tomorrow always, always begins by doing the truth today. So good to be with you.